Welcome to another one of our auction reviews. This time we're back with Charterhouse for one of their classic bike auctions held in the middle of March, and we're at the Haynes Motor Museum in Somerset. And there's some cracking bikes to choose from here. We've got a Kawasaki Z900, one of the real early super bikes, and we've got Suzuki's response, the GT750 triple, better known as the Kettle. And there's a great selection of 80s bikes as well. There's an RD500LC Yamaha, which is one of those rare two-stroke race replicas. That's in bits in boxes, but it could be the bike for you. And we've also got a Honda RC30, the VFR 750R, the full-on race bike, and a whole raft of others. Katanas, we've got GPZ900 turbos, so it's absolutely fantastic. So please do keep watching to see how these bikes got on when they went to auction. From a visual perspective, I think these are really glorious. It looks like a beautiful 1980s race bike. Unfortunately, reality was, back in the day, they weren't quite as good as they looked. This is a Honda VF1000R, and this was the development of the Honda VF1000. And for those of you with really big memories will know, back in the day, Honda had a lot of problems with cam chain tensioners on their V4 range. And the way they got around it was they actually moved to having gear-driven cams. And this, along with other bits and pieces, when they converted it from the normal VF1000 to this, added about 85 pounds in weight. So for a race bike, it was a bit heavy, unfortunately. I think, you know, the colour scheme in that looks really nice, but in reality, it's more show than go, unfortunately. This is a UK machine. It's been unused for 2 years, but still looks in really cracking condition. A couple of minor bits. There is a small dent on the tank there, but otherwise, it looks pretty much with a quick check over, ready to go. Guide wise, £4,000 to £4,500, and I think that's pretty reasonable. These are quite a rare bike now, and gear driven cams and that, you know, you're not going to get too much trouble, and I think it will hold its money quite well going forward, so I can't imagine it's going to be a bad buy. But who am I to say? Let's find out what happened when it went to auction.
2 is bid, thank you, 2000. The VF1000R, 2000, 22, 24, 26, 28, at 2008 and away now. At £2,800 now, the bid is here with us at 2008. Fair warning, last chance here at 28. Ends with us.
Turbo bikes have never really caught on that well in the bike world, but in my opinion, the king of the hill really was the Kawasaki GPZ900 turbo, and this 86 model is really nice. Around that time, Honda had the CX range, the 500 and 650 come out with turbos, but they were quite big lumpy things. And Suzuki came along with the XN85. That was, I think, a 650 turbo. And none of them really caught on that well. But you know, my memory of this is my motorcycle instructor actually had one of these, and we were all in awe of it. This one is particularly nice. It's had a mechanical restoration. It's had the paintwork fully done by Dream Machine, and anyone knows about bike paintwork will know those are the go-to guys, and it does look really, really nice. It's only done 6,566 miles, which is nothing for one of these, and it's been owned by the current owner 25 years, and I always think that's a great sign that someone sort of really loved the bike. And back in 2022 actually won an award at the Bristol show, so that shows the quality of this bike. Price wise, it's up for £8,000 to £9,000, and I think that's probably pretty much in the window. These are a little bit niche, but I also think that means that they will probably hold their price, because we're not going to see their like again. Let's see what happened when the auctioneers started taking the bids.
Start me at 8,000, at 8,000, at 8,000. 8,000 is bid, at 8,000 I have. I'm at 8,000, I'll take 2 where now? I'm at £8,000 I have bid now. The Kawasaki, the turbo, beautiful looking bike here. It will be sold at £8,000. Any further advance now? I'll take a 200 where now? I'm at £8,000 now. Fair warning, I go and I sell, selling away at £8,000.
Now, you probably all know that Honda launched the superbike era with the CB750, an inline 4-cylinder 4-stroke bike. Then Kawasaki responded with the Z1, similar layout, but then along came Suzuki with the GT750. Now, Remember, from Ernst Degner, who they acquired from East Germany back in the 60s, they were very big into their two-strokes, and this bike is really the evolution of that. 750cc triple, but a two-stroke. That was Suzuki's entry into that world. It did do fairly well back in the day. It was jokingly nicknamed the kettle because it had a habit of boiling over, but otherwise it was quite a good bike. Obviously Suzuki eventually went the same way as everyone else, went reliability with the four-stroke. Now this particular one is in just really nice condition. Sadly it's from a deceased estate. It needs a little bit of light recommissioning, but otherwise it's good to go. And it's guided at 5,000 to 6,000, which I think makes it a little bit of a bargain, because I think these are a good investment. So let's see how it got on when it went to auction.
It's starting at 5,000, at 5,000, at 5,000, 4,000 I have, at 4,000, at 4,000 pound I have bid now, at 4,000, 4,2, 4,5, 4,8, at 4,8 on the wall, 5,000 and 2, 5,2 standing, 5,5 behind, 5,8, 6,000, 6,2, 6,5, 6,8, 6,8, the bid is on my left now against the wall at 6,008, 7,000, thank you anyhow, that's 7,000 pound and away now, that's 7,000 pound, your bid sir at 7,000 pound, go on, 7,2 seated, he's in line 7,2 seated, 7,5 is the next bid, 7,2 is seated, it's fourth row at 7,002, 7,5 bid, thank you sir, 7,5, standing at 7,5, thank you, standing bid, 7,500, and I sell, thank you Sammy, is 261A.
Now, when I bought my very first bike magazine, it was Performance Bikes, remember that? It turned into, I don't know, like the max power of motorcycle magazines. They had a little project going on in there, and it was Project Dole Bike, and the idea was being able to build or restore a bike if you were on the dole. And they chose a KH250, and they rebuilt it front to back for £120. Now obviously I need to allow for inflation, I know that, but it just shows how the values of these have changed. This one is guided at £4,500 to £5,000. It is in really nice condition. It looks like you could just pull it out and go off and enjoy it straight away. It's done 41,000 miles. This of course was the smallest of the KH triple family. They did 250 right through to 750, and we'll see one of those a little bit later in this video. And it's just of that era, the colour and everything else. I think it looks really nice. But let's see if someone loved it as much as I did and put a bid in for it.
Now, fair warning, to be submitted as a provisional bid at £3,800, and the number is 283, thanks Lee.
This 1982 Suzuki GSX 1100 Katana was a bike that really started a new era. We were very much coming out of the 1970s where bikes were still upright and lots of chrome and so on. And I really remember this. Do you remember just after Christmas, you always used to get those magazines on telly that like 99p for the first issue, but to get the full set it was like sort of 2 years worth at £5 a week. And I can remember this bike being featured on the cover of that. And of course this Suzuki engine is well known, very tough engine, been used for a lot of years. This one, even better, is a German import. And the reason I say that is that I've got some friends in Germany with bikes, and in Germany they won't let you do any modifications unless it's got a full TUV mark on the part you're putting on. So they really very rarely do modifications. So this one has come back, it's really standard. It was last MOT back in 2022, so not that long ago. It looks all up and tidy, looks quite nice, and it's up for £6,000 to £7,000. Now I think it will do that quite easily because these are still quite sought after. But of course, it's the bidders who decide.
6,000 the Katana at 6,000, £5,000 at 5. 4 is bid at 4,000 I have, at 4,000 bid, 4,2, 4,5, 4,8, at 4,008 and away now. At £4,800 and away now. Here, last chance and away, here with us at 4,8, 4,8.
This Honda VFR 750R was a bike that really made an impact when it was launched back in 1987. Very few bikes are called by their sort of design name, which was RC30, rather than its sort of proper given name, the VFR 750R. It was a race bike for the road. There'd been bikes before which, you know, the GSX-R range, they'd gone down that route, but this was really uncompromising on, you know, it was literally just lights on a race bike, single seat, all the fancy bits all over it, and it was just something else. It was about 50% more than anything else I think on the market at the time from the main manufacturers, and this particular example is a real survivor, because bear in mind a lot of these were just used race bikes, you know, on the road, you know, racetracks. Actually this bike was the ones used to win the first World Superbike Championship back in about, was it 88? And so for one to survive in original condition like this is quite rare, and this one's an import. It came into the UK in 2007, but it's only done 3,565 miles, so it's hardly used in real terms. Price wise, it's estimated at 30 to 35,000. I think it should do that. They are, you know, a really sought after bike. They are, you know, they were such an impact. I can't reinforce that too much from that era of just the arms race of the 80s. It was fantastic. You had to be there, as they say. But of course, what's it all about today? It's about what's it going to get up to when it comes under the hammer.
So I'm straight in here on commission at £20,000. I have bid now. 20,000. At £20,000 I have bid now. At £20,000 away now. 21,000, 22,000, 23,000, 24,000, 25,000. At £25,000 I have bid now. At £25,000 it's on commission here. Looking for £26,000 now. I'm at £25,000 bid on the RC30 here. I'm at £25,000 I have bid now. I'm looking for 26 now. I'm at £25,000 the bid is here on commission, and we're going to submit it as a provisional bid. If there's any further advance, if not, I submit here at 25,000. That is bidder 2A.
This 1997 Kawasaki GPZ900R is a real cracking example. It's one of the later models. Bear in mind, this bike was originally launched back in 1984, and out of the box it was a TT winner. It was the first of the new generation of superbikes, and I think it's aged really well. This one's had a few modifications. It's got a lower seat, and it's also got some raised bars to make it a bit easier on the wrists. It's being sold due to the owner's aging years. It looks like it's been really nicely looked after. 29,000 miles, nothing for these engines really, and it's guided at £2,500 to £3,000. I think it might just about make that. Some of these bikes are a difficult sell at the moment. There's an awful lot of these about because it was in production for so long, but let's see what the bidders decided it was worth.
Start with a couple of thousand, 2,000. At £2,000 away now, at 2,000, at £2,000 away, 1,000 if you will please, at £1,000 away now, 1,000 is bid I have now, at 1,000, second row seated at 1,000, at £1,000 I have bid, at £1,000, I'm looking for 1,100, where is it now? I'm at £1,000 I have bid now, second row seated here, at £1,000, all we can do is submit it, I'm afraid, at 1,000. No further advance, we'll submit it as a provisional bid at 1,000.
Another one of my 80s favourite superheroes, the Yamaha RD500LC. And this one is obviously slightly in kit form. The history on this, it's a 1984 bike. It was purchased by the owner in 1985 and then used for 4 years before being taken off the road and stored. The engine was restored about 4 years ago, and now obviously is in need of reassembly and recommissioning. It's literally all there. Behind me there is a whole raft of boxes with parts in them and everything. I've had a look through, it all looks really clean and ready to go. So with a bit of time you could just have yourself a nice bike. I can remember back, you know, the late 80s, we're talking the era of Wayne Rainey on the race version of this. Obviously this was a very short period in time. Yamaha had the RD, Suzuki obviously had the RG500, another 4-cylinder, 500cc, and there was the Honda NS400R. I think probably might be slightly my favourite out of the three. Obviously slightly smaller capacity, only a 3-cylinder, but again another sought after bike, and in those Honda colours it was gorgeous. This one is guided at £8,000 to £9,000, and yeah, I think considering what these can go for in the high teens when completed, that's probably not a fair guess on there, but until the hammer drops, we don't know what it goes for, so let's find out.
£9,500. I'm looking for 9,008 I have online. The next one is 10,000. And do not be shy, it is just another £200. And at 10,000 I have, at £10,000 I have bid. 11,000. At 11,000. I'll take 500 if it helps anyone. 11,005, thank you. We'll treat you the same, we'll give you the same courtesy. 12,000 now. 12,000 is the next bid. I'm at 11,500 I have bid now. Looking for 12,000. I'm at 11,500 I have bid. Fair warning, the hammer is going up. At 11,500 and I sell. Last chance selling at 11,500. 5078, and thank you to our bidders.
This 72 Kawasaki KH750 is a real beast. Back in the day, they were known as the Widowmaker. This is the days before you got things like ABS, traction control and so on. The power band on these allegedly was absolutely evil. There was no power valves or anything like this. It was just, you cough through the sort of lower part of the rev band and then it would take off. And this one is a really cracking example. It's had a full nut and bolt resto. It was originally a US bike, and it is so fresh it still needs running in. It was last started back in September 24, so just about 6 months ago. It's got the V5, so it's all UK legal. Got some neat little bits. I noticed it's got a steering damper on it, so someone's trying to calm it down, because bear in mind this is the era where the engines were much more performance orientated than what the chassis were. This one's guided at £12,000 to £14,000. My gut is I think it will do it. It's really, really nice. It's still got the dimples on the tyres, so if you were going to restore it yourself, you'd probably end up spending a lot more. So let's see what the buyers thought about it.
Start me at 10,000, at 10,000, at £10,000 away now. I have 8 is big. 8.2, 8.5, 8.8, 9,000, 9.2, at 9.2 bid, 9.5, 9.8, at 9.8 bid and away now. At £9,800 I have bid on the H2A here. At £9,800 and away now. Be quick. At £9,800 and away. The H2A at £9,800 here. Last chance here. It's our bid. You're allowed to pay £1,000.
And now, as they used to say on Monty Python, for something completely different. This is a 1900 or 1901 BMTC. Now that's the British Motor Traction Company. Now bear in mind, around this time, obviously the very, very early days of motorcycles, effectively you had a bicycle frame and they sourced an engine, bolted the two together, and you got yourself a motor bicycle. This one's got a little bit of an interesting history. It's actually been in the Science Museum between 1933 and 2024 when it was taken back out and is now being offered for sale. I wouldn't have a clue where the value of this. It's up for between £10,000 and £15,000. No idea. It could be worth more than that, might be less, but we'll find out in a minute. But if you need to enter, or got a desire to enter those early London to Brighton runs and so on, this is the sort of thing you need, and there's obviously only a limited number. So let's see what it was worth when it came to go under the hammer.
10,000 on the phone. 10,000. 11,000. 12,000. 13,000. 14,000, 15,000, 16,000, 17,000, 18,000, 18,000. On the telephone at £18,000 and away now. At 18,000 I have, at £18,000 and I will sell it now. Make no mistake, on the telephone, selling here at £18,000. Well done, Colin. Thank you.
Part of this sale is the disposal of 27 Hondas from a single deceased estate. Majority of the bikes are sort of late 60s, early 70s, and one that really caught my eye is this 1981 CBX 1000. Now, this was a case of Honda really showing what they could do. It was an inline 6-cylinder 4-stroke motorcycle. This one is in really good condition. It had a £4,000 engine rebuild a little while ago, back in 1997. It was last used in 2024, but it's a really nice bike, and it's guided at £10,000 to £12,000, and I think that's probably on the money because these are still really sought after, particularly in this really nice condition. So let's see what happened when it went under the hammer.
6,800, 7,000. New bidder in the room, 7,000. Waiting patiently in the wings, I think that was called. That's 7,000. 7,002. 7,005. 7,005. That's 7,005. That's £7,500 I have. Now's the time to bid again, please. It is the room bid, 7,800. 8,000. It's currently out, but we think you've come a long way. The bid is on my left at £8,000. I'm looking for 200. Where is it now? I'm at £8,000 to be submitted as a provisional bid at £8,000 and away at 8,000. The number is there, please.
This 1976 Kawasaki Z900 is a really nice looking bike. Of course, this was Kawasaki's response to Honda. Honda had launched the CB750, I think around 69, and this came out a little while after, bigger capacity, and is obviously quite revered. This one's a little bit later. The early ones, we know the early 70s are really sought after. This one's done 33,000 miles, and importantly, it's original. And as they say, it's unrestored, so and it's only original once, and that goes for this bike. It's guided at £8,500 to £9,000, which I think is really fair. I think these have eased back a little bit from what people were asking for them a few years ago. Apparently it starts and runs well. It's done 33,000 miles, and what's not to like? But let's see how it got on when it went under the hammer.
6,800. Standing in the room at 6,008, 7,000 is bid online, and 2 to oblige. 7,002 bid. Standing at 7,200. Standing at 7,200. Standing at 7,500 online. That's 7,500. No, thank you. At £7,500 I have bid. It's going to be submitted. I'm at 7,500. 7,008. Fresh blood. Slightly. At 7,800, front row seated at 7,800. Back to you online if you will now, please. At £7,800. So front row seated now. The internet is out. I'm at 8,000 is bid. 8,002, sorry. No. Okay, thank you. It's at £8,000. The bid is online at £8,000. I have bid. I'm at £8,000. It's an internet bid at £8,000. We're going to submit it. I'm sure it's going to go through. A provisional bid right here at £8,000 at 8,000. 8,000 is 5082.
This one's quite an interesting bike. You might recognise the style. It's for the Phil Reed replica that Honda Britain did in the late 1970s, but this one is one of the follow-on. They did 150 of the original bikes with the Phil Reed colour scheme, and this one is one of the 250 run on afterwards. It's got quite an interesting history, this one. It was actually stored for 35 years, pulled out and then subject to a 5-year restoration, and it looks immaculate. It looks in really nice condition, and mileage wise it's only showing 5,635 miles, and that's supported by MOTs, and obviously it was off the road for quite some time as well. I think it's really nice. It's guided at £6,500 to £7,500, and I think that's probably pretty much on the money, but let's see how it got on when it went to auction.
6,000, 5,000 is bid. At 5,000 I have. At 5,200, 5,500, 5,800. At 5,008 I have bid and away now. At £5,800 I have bid and away now from Seeley Honda here. At £5,800 I have. Looking for 6. Where is it now? It's our bid here. At £5,800 and away now. At £5,800. Any further advance now? The bid is here with us. At £5,800. It will stay with us then. Any further advance, if not, here with us at 5,800.
Well, great auction there, and we are joined by auctioneer Richard Bromell, who's going to give us basically his thoughts on how today went. as they say, Richard. How was it for you?
Honestly, it was a little bit up and a little bit down. The stuff I thought was going to romp away, some of it struggled. The stuff I thought we had no chance of selling romped away, and the middle ground, it was sticky. And certainly all auctioneers I'm speaking to and watching, it's the middle ground that's a bit sticky.
And we've heard exactly the same at other auctions, and particularly with the cars as well. If it's something really special and unique, let's take for example this BMTC, which I know nothing about, but
Just,
seriously overperformed.
Yeah, I mean, we had phone bids at Copenhagen, America. I mean, probably the coolest thing that no one's ever going to ride. Surface-mounted carburettor, completely original, and it's original because our parents and our grandparents haven't had it, because it's been in a museum store since 1933. If my dad had got hold of this, he'd have wire brushed it all down, bit of black paint.
Nice bit of hammer, right?
Nice bit of hammer, and he thinks he's doing a good thing. No, but what's that? 19,000 pound on the hammer.
I was gobsmacked personally, because I had that's completely out of my comfort zone. But something that is in my comfort zone is the RC30.
Yep.
And in the past, we've seen these at really strong prices, haven't we?
You have, but
okay.
That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, so 2022, 2023. We were coming in and out, 2022, in and out of lockdown. A lot of people, had a good lockdown, and they had money
Spent well.
They were able to indulge themselves. Things have sort of calmed down a little bit from now, and the problem is you've got one, you probably don't want a second one as well.
No, fair point.
Low mileage, enough miles that, it hasn't done absolutely nothing for its entire life, and imported into the country in 2007. So, but yeah, I mean, I think we're talking, we're having a conversation with a client about it at the moment, and it will be sold. It will go through, but it's sub 30 grand today.
Yeah. But is this a bit of a trend maybe? I know it was some of the other Japanese, the Honda VF1000R, that I thought would have done a lot better, the CBX1000, that struggle. Is there a bit of softening there?
The CBX1000, we got 9.5 grand for.
Yeah.
That went through.
Brilliant, okay.
We kind of got there in the end.
Yeah.
It's a bit of patience. There's always that conversation you have to have with the client. We've got to try and give them help and guidance, and sometimes they listen to what we say, and sometimes they think, well, actually, I think it's worth 15 grand, and we think, well, it's probably 8 to 12. But almost when the bike comes in, they've got over that hurdle of getting rid of the bike.
They sort of let go.
Let it go. And none of us have a crystal ball. I don't honestly see the market improving in leaps and bounds in anything, probably apart from gold. And certainly I wouldn't be buying Tesla shares at the moment. But apart from that, buy it because you see it, you like it, it evokes those memories, that nostalgia, and you've got money to pay for it. There were things that people, NSU Quickly, world record price. If you reckoned your NSU Quickly is worth 600 to 800 quid, you're probably about right. Yeah. What did we sell it for?
9,200.
And why is that? Because of the great auctioneering.
And on that basis,
modest at Charterhouse as well.
I had noticed that. And continue that modesty with a quick plug for your next auction in a couple of weeks.
Next auction coming up, so busy time at the moment. We have our classic and vintage car auction here. Cool cars, Mercedes G-Wagon. I'm actually quite gutted. Recently bought a new Defender because the G-Wagon is really cool. We've also got an Automobilia sale. Big collection of 50 enamel signs, lots of pub memorabilia, really cool man cave stuff. That's on the 2nd of April. And then coming up on the 15th and the 16th of May, this is a super plug, thank you, we have the Moretonhampstead Motor Museum collection that we are selling in situ. So there's 60 cars, 60 bikes. There's the last ever Austin J40 pedal car made there. You've got oil bottles, signs. It's a really cool museum.
That sounds really exciting, and hopefully if we can get the planets to align, we're going to go and do a bit of a preview there of that auction, so you'll be able to see what is available. as ever, Richard, thank you so much. I won't shake your hand because
Health and safety.
Yeah, we had a bit of an incident here, so we're going to have to fill a few books out. But
You stuck your finger where you shouldn't have done.
yeah, it wouldn't be the first time. But thank you so much for that.
Pleasure.
And at home, thank you again so much for watching. And please, if you can, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Just in time.
Jesus Christ.
That was...
What did you...
that was just...